on. Good afternoon and welcome everyone to a webinar on wellness products and medical devices presented by EAS Consulting Group and EAS Independent Consultant, Jay Mansour. EAS is a member of the Certified Family of Companies, a leader in regulatory solutions for industries regulated by FDA. Our global network of over 150 independent advisors and consultants enables EAS to provide comprehensive training, consulting, and auditing services, ensuring proactive regulatory compliance. Your presenter today is Jay Mansour. And Jay is a seasoned medical device regulatory professional with over 20 years of experience. He has successfully filed more than 100 510(k) clearances, including de novo, across many technologies, and assists clients with QMS turnkey projects, including personnel training and CE marking products, as well as responding to FDA 483s and warning letters. He's an expert in process validations, and that includes software, sterilization, and more. And as a reminder, you can ask any questions today by typing them into the questions box. We will save all questions for the end of the presentation. And with that, I will say thank you for joining EAS, and I'll turn the presentation over to Jay.
All right, thank you, Amy. Appreciate it. Welcome everybody to this webinar. I would like to start by asking a quick question. If you raise your hands, whether you're familiar with this regulation or not. If you're familiar partly, please raise your hand. Okay. All right, so let's continue. We'll talk about the FDA history first, about wellness products. It includes hardware and software, and it has been deregulated over time. So since 2015, January 20, FDA draft guidance document for wellness products was issued. There was only 12 comments back then. Then FDA issued another guidance document in 2016. Then another one in December 2016 about the software. And that guidance document removed software functions from the definition of device if intended for maintaining or encouraging a healthy lifestyle and is unrelated to diagnosis, cure, mitigation, prevention, or treatment of a disease or condition. And that's really an important criteria that we're going to see in the next slides as we go further. In 2017, software as medical device guidance document from International Medical Device Regulators Forum added as an FDA guidance document. And in 2019, FDA guidance document for wellness products reissued, and that was 12 pages. And FDA may consult with the Consumer Product Safety Commission and other agencies as to whether a general wellness product is a consumer product or a device. So FDA got other agencies in the mix. Let's discuss a little bit the risk involved about the definition of a wellness product. It needs to be low-risk product that promotes a healthy lifestyle, empowering individuals to take more active role in managing their health, such as fitness trackers, and when they are intended for only general wellness use. This is the actual definition right now. It doesn't apply to drugs, biologics, dietary supplements, food, or cosmetics. We're talking strictly medical device that are being downgraded to wellness product. And the references that we're using for this webinar, you can use those links for more detailed information. So the 12th page is located at the link here, and there's some questions unanswered. Some answers are contradictory, subject to interpretation. So it's not really a very clean document. There's some interpretation link that you can check. So this wellness device is still work in progress as far as FDA is concerned. It's not really 100% defined yet. So we'll go through that in the next slides. So documentation required for general wellness products. So your quality management system really needs to include SOPs to define the qualification of a general wellness product, the relevant form and attachments to document such a decision. You need to define the top-level requirements for design, manufacturing, non-conformances, distribution, and recalls for general wellness products. And you need to define the required records. And another thing, work instructions that are specific for each wellness product. The idea from this slide is to stress the fact that although it is a general wellness product, you really need to defend it internally through your procedures, because in case of an FDA inspection, you need to be able to show how you came up to that conclusion. FDA doesn't really require safety and effectiveness. They are not expecting it from a wellness product perspective, but you need to prove that in the documentation. So development considerations, impact of wellness device determination. Is this a faster path to market? We're going to ask some questions and answer through those slides. Required pre-market human testing for general wellness. Studies, myth versus fact. Are biocompatible studies needed? Are human factor studies needed? In-market risk. What's needed by FDA to challenge wellness device? What FDA approval is required for general wellness? So, what's the strategy of wellness products versus medical devices as far as regulatory is concerned? So, in the very early stages of the design activities, the first issue, you need to be able to classify the product based on the intended use and based on the features. And also you need to consider future changes that may be incorporated on the design level. Would these changes be acceptable? Are they still gonna be a wellness product, or you expect to reach medical device soon enough? Repositioning a medical device to be a wellness product. What portions of GMP requirements is disproportionately demanding and burdensome? Can such burden be substantially reduced by partially following this GMP requirement? So the question is it worth fighting to classify a medical device as a wellness product by removing some of the claims, maybe, if everything else works with the definition, except some claims? Would you be willing to downgrade it to wellness product? What are the GMP requirements? Are you going to reduce a lot of your burden on the regulatory side by doing that or not? This is one factor that you need to consider during this process. Then there's the legal exposure for not fully or only partially following this specific requirement. Sorry about that. So there are two main columns here. One is about the risk and one about the use. And those two together help us define the wellness device. How do we want to go about it? So R1, R2, R3, and U1 and U2. That's what we're going to be discussing here. Product type regulated as medical device with the same intended use or population. If there's already a product type with this condition, your product cannot be a wellness product. It cannot be a wellness product. If the product in question, if you answer no to this question, then you can continue and there's a chance to be a wellness device. So the next question is about the safety concerns. Is it required to conduct testing based on recognized standards? If there are recognized standards for medical device products that need to be used as part of your safety testing, then it's not going to be wellness device. If you don't require such testing for recognized standards, then you can continue. The other question is invasive or implanted. And that implanted definition, we need to be careful because it actually includes mucosal membranes and skin, such as in case of exfoliation, in order to enhance the delivery of a topically applied product containing one or more active pharmaceutical ingredients through the stratum corneum. So FDA really expands it. In one place they say invasive or implanted, and they define it in more stringent way in another document. So fishing for all these definitions together, the question is, if it is invasive or implanted, it's not going to be a wellness product either. So if you go through R1, R2, R3, and you are able to continue all the way, then the subject device is qualified as wellness product from the risk point of view. If answer to R3 is no, if you reach all the way there. But there's another factor about the uses. So U1, the criteria is intended use that relates to maintaining or encouraging a general state of health or a healthy activity. If that condition applies, we can continue. If it's not, then it's really not a wellness product. Then the next question, if intended to reduce the risk or impact of certain chronic diseases or conditions, it is well understood and accepted that healthy lifestyle choices may play an important role in health outcomes for the disease or condition. If yes or not applicable, you can continue. If no, it's not going to be a wellness product. So taking care of the risks and the uses, if you reach all the way to R3 and all the way to U2, if both conditions apply, then it's going to be a wellness product. And to stress previous point here, subject device is qualified as wellness product, even if not safe and effective, because FDA does not consider safety and effectiveness when you reach the wellness arena. So let's expand on each one, R1, R2, R3, and U1 and U2. So one second, please. So as mentioned earlier, FDA classified certain wellness products prior to this guidance document. Oximeter as a medical device falls under DQA classification, but oximeter for wellness can fall under two different product codes, both being 510K exempt, but both remain subject to GMP requirements, even with the intended use being for a population that is not using the product for medical application. The next slide illustrates that both recognized standards under DQA have been removed from both wellness counterparts. The removal of the safety standard ISO 80601-2-61 is of concern. And you can see here the oximeter on the left is OCH, and the one on the right is PGJ. And they are both under enforcement discretion. So this is caused by deregulating products that were medical devices, deregulating them if conditions apply into wellness product. So FDA would likely be cleaning those things up in the future. So why would any manufacturer of an oximeter as a wellness product not consider the standard, whether it is GMP exempt or not? The following slides revisits the discussion under R2. So FDA regulations should be thoroughly researched for a specific wellness product, irrespective of the generic definitions and regulatory pathways within FDA's guidance document. The ability of defining a product as a wellness product allows for the elimination of FDA's regulatory risks, but not product liability risks. And you can see here in the slide, CDRH does not intend to examine low-risk general wellness products to determine whether they are devices within the meaning of the Act, or if they are devices, whether they comply with the pre-market review and post-market regulatory requirements for devices. And that includes registration and listing, labeling, GMP, and MDR. If special control is required to ensure safety of a product when reviewing FDA regulatory requirements for a product of same type, that is intended use and technology, then the product cannot qualify as wellness product. And special controls here are listed. So comparing oximeter DQA and oximeter wellness PGJ, recognized standard ISO 80601-2-61 that mentioned before as a performance standard would be needed also for the latter, being related to safety. FDA needs to update its current classification to be consistent with its guidance document. FDA doesn't intend to provide list of wellness products, but at a minimum, it needs to remove current classifications for wellness products from its database. So examples of this list of examples of products that would not be considered low risk as described in this guidance. So sun lamp product promoted for tanning purposes. Risks to a user's safety from the ultraviolet radiation, including without limitation, an increased risk of skin cancer. Implants promoted for improved self-image or enhanced sexual function. Risks such as rupture or adverse reaction to implant materials and risks associated with the implantation procedure. Third, laser product that claims to improve confidence in users' appearance by rejuvenating the skin. Although the claims of rejuvenating the skin and improving confidence in users' appearance are general wellness claims, laser technology presents risks of skin and eye burns. The fourth one is neurostimulation products that claim to improve memory. Risks to a user's safety from electrical stimulation. The last one is here, product that claims to enhance a user's athletic performance by providing suggestions based on the results of relative lactic acid testing. So if venipuncture is used to obtain the blood samples, product is invasive, that is, obtains blood samples by piercing the skin. Intervention that may pose a risk to the safety of the user and other persons if specific regulatory controls are not applied, such as venipuncture may pose a risk of infection transmission. So you can tell that the examples are really limiting for what we can, what FDA is willing to take as wellness device. So R3 about invasive or implanted. So low risk considerations. It's not regulated by the FDA. No intervention or technology that may pose a risk to the safety of users and other persons if specific regulatory controls are not applied, not invasive, and not implanted. This is what we take from the low risk considerations. So we go to U1 now. Intended use that relates to maintaining or encouraging a general state of health or a healthy activity. So this is a list of items consolidated: weight management, physical fitness, including products intended for recreational use, relaxation or stress management, mental acuity, self-esteem, such as devices with a cosmetic function that make claims related only to self-esteem, sleep management, sexual function. Then examples of general wellness claims: promote or maintain a healthy weight, encourage healthy eating, or assist with weight loss goals, promote relaxation or manage stress, increase, improve, or enhance the flow of key energy, improve mental acuity, instruction following, concentration, problem solving, multitasking, resource management, decision making, logic, pattern recognition, or eye-hand coordination. Enhance learning capacity, promote physical fitness, log, track, or trend exercise activity, measure aerobic fitness, improve physical fitness, develop or improve endurance, strength, or coordination, or improve energy, such as fitness or activity trackers. Promote sleep management, track sleep trends, promote or boost self-esteem, address a specific body structure or function, such as to increase or improve muscle size or body tone, tone or firm the body or muscle, or enhance or improve sexual performance. Improve general mobility, or to assist individuals who are mobility impaired in recreational activity, such as sport wheelchairs, beach access wheelchairs. And that kind of goes into gray area because wheelchairs are medical devices. So it's hard to define a wheelchair, whether it is for medical or not medical, depending on where it is used. So this is kind of gray area that needs to be cleaned up as FDA goes through another iteration of defining wellness devices. The last one is enhance an individual's participation in recreational activities by monitoring the consequences of participating in such activities, such as to monitor heart rate or monitor frequency or impact of collision. So, 1 second. So examples of claims that do not fall into general wellness category. So product that treats or diagnose obesity, product that treat an eating disorder such as anorexia, product that helps treat an anxiety disorder, computer game that diagnose or treat autism, product that will treat muscle atrophy or erectile dysfunction, and restore a structure or function impaired due to a disease or condition, such as a claim that a prosthetic device enables amputees to walk. And the last item, U2, this second category of general wellness intended uses relate to sustaining or offering general improvement to functions associated with a general state of health while referencing diseases or conditions. So examples of disease-related general wellness claims: software product U coaches breathing techniques and relaxation skills, which as part of a healthy lifestyle may help living well with migraine headaches. So this is one general wellness device. Another one is software product V tracks and records your sleep, work, and exercise routine, which as part of a healthy lifestyle may help living well with anxiety as a consequence, not as a direct claim. Product W promotes making healthy lifestyle choices such as getting enough sleep, eating a balanced diet, and maintaining a healthy weight, which may help living well with type 2 diabetes. So again, it's a consequential, not a direct thing. Product X promotes physical activity, which as part of a healthy lifestyle may help reduce the risk of high blood pressure. Software product Y tracks your caloric intake and helps you manage a healthy eating plan to maintain a healthy weight and balanced diet, which may help living well with high blood pressure and type 2 diabetes. And the last example, Z, for product that tracks activity sleep patterns and promotes healthy sleep habits, which as part of a healthy lifestyle may help reduce the risk for developing type 2 diabetes. So that's where we reach the end of the discussion about risk and uses. And this is some product classification screenshots. The current list of products under enforcement discretion includes some wellness products that FDA defined prior to the guidance document. This is a tool to use when reviewing the regulatory status of a product and whether it fits under enforcement discretion or not. So you can go to the FDA website, to the databases, you can go to product classification, and you can filter by device submission type, enforcement discretion. And the result is on the right side, a partial screen. So this is one tool you can use. Then let's go through some definitions here. Except for class 3 devices, all other classifications may include some enforcement discretion devices, namely unclassified, non-classified, class 1, class 2, as well as accessories. So unclassified versus non-classified, not classified, there's a link that was provided here. Unclassified devices are pre-amendment devices for which a classification regulation has not been promulgated and requires submission of a 510K pre-market notification. A not classified device is a post-amendment devices, that is after 1976, for which the agency has not yet reviewed a marketing application or for which the agency has not made a final decision on such a marketing application. Accessories, there's a link for it, are treated at a different risk level than a main product, providing a path for the accessory to be considered as general wellness products, even if the main product is not. So accessory is a finished device that is intended to support, supplement, and or augment the performance of one or more parent devices. Example, an accessory to a class 2 device, such as a piece of exercise equipment intended to be attached to an AC-powered articulating hospital bed, may be considered as a device under enforcement discretion and classified as a wellness product. Examples illustrating device functions. A software function plays music to soothe and relax an individual and to manage stress. Such a software function is not a device function. A software function that solely monitors and records daily energy expenditure and cardiovascular workout activities to allow awareness of one's exercise activities to improve or maintain good cardiovascular health. Such a software function is not a device function. A software function that monitors and records food consumption to manage dietary activity for weight management and alert the user, healthcare provider, or family member of unhealthy dietary activity, such a software function is not a device function. Now, the software function that reminds users to keep exposed skin out of direct sunlight when the UV index is high, which as part of a healthy lifestyle may help reduce the risk of skin cancer, such a software function is a device function because we're talking about risk. So in case of device function, product is considered under enforcement discretion and no firm's device listing is required. Some of them are optional and you can still list them if there is a product code for them. So let's talk about benefits versus risk. Here we define the factors, wellness product, medical device, and comments. And the first factor is safety and effectiveness. The second one is Medicare reimbursement. The third one is reduced time to market. So there's a risk of having a wellness product. Consumers' trust in a medical device is higher. So from the safety and effectiveness perspective, if everything else is equal and the incremental regulatory burden is minimal, and you can justify it as a medical device, From the safety and effectiveness perspective, it's better because wellness product is not recognized by FDA in terms of safety and effectiveness. So you have some kind of a marketing disadvantage. From the Medicare reimbursement also, there's another issue because the benefit of having a medical device is that you can get reimbursed. Wellness devices are not really reimbursed typically through insurance and Medicare and all that. The third factor is reduced time to the market. So time impact and financial considerations to be reviewed based on other previous tables that we discussed to define benefit versus risk for this factor. So again, what are the requirements? Is it a simple device that you can develop the device history file and the DMR and all these good things fairly quickly? How much would it cost in terms of time and money and market loss by the time you complete this if you want to do it as a medical device? Wellness device, you don't necessarily need all the DHRs and all these things, although it's always better to keep production records in shape. So here we have some list of items about the time impact of the various issues. So 510K clearance and corresponding device listing, if there's a 510K required. The time impact, if it is a medical device instead of wellness device, maybe in the range of 3 to 4 months. If the documentation is pretty much in order and you're ready to submit the 510K. So this is one disadvantage of having it as a medical device if you can justify it as wellness device through the technology and the claims. The second item is design controls, including human factor studies, which address customer expectations and marketing claims, as well as product risk. So this is on case-by-case basis because although it can be a wellness device, from the typical protection of a company, you would understandably carry out human factors either way, whether it's a medical device or wellness device. What is the difference in time in terms of time and investment? It is on case-by-case basis. The third factor is regarding FDA guidance documents. FDA recognized standards, including biochemical testing. So if there is a biochemical testing to be done, you're using the ISO 10993 series of standards. So it's going to be a medical device in this case. If you require that as part of your assessment for the product, but again, the amount of design documentation is directly linked to the company reputation in properly achieving or surpassing customer expectations, as well as the company tolerance to risks, irrespective of applicable regulations. So regarding items 2 and 3, I would encourage everybody to think more globally about the big picture, what we want to do. Is it more important to cut costs or increase the market by having it more regulated? If we have that choice. Device master record, device history record, to be determined on case-by-case basis. Expected to be minimal in case of an existing QMS that is GMP compliant. If there's already the factory producing products, medical products, and DMRs and DHRs are already something that you perform, and all you need to do is to add one product. If you have the infrastructure to define the DMRs and record all the productions, the DHRs, probably the incremental cost in terms of time and money is going to be minimal. And number 5 here, complaint handling, non-conformances, corrective actions, and recalls. Also nil to minimal in case of an existing QMS GMP compliant. So for both 4 and 5, I would comment that the ability to manage and address customer complaints and product recalls is directly tied to the ability to track production and to the ability of analyzing applicable data. From the product liability perspective, applying GMP principles is a powerful tool to reduce company legal exposure for the lack of other appropriate requirements. And item 6 about medical device reporting, it's really nil to minimal if you have already a QMS that's GMP compliant. Since it is not an option to submit MDR reports to FDA in case of Oneness product, there will be a need to establish an alternate reporting system to applicable government agencies for non-medical devices, such as maybe consumer protection agencies. And that will get us to the end here. And we open the lines for questions, please. Amy.
Great, thank you so much, Jay. And let's see. Our first question is regarding recording and slides. And yes, we are recording this, and we will certainly provide a copy of that once it's up on the EAS website. And if you have other questions in addition to that one, please do type them into the questions box. While we're waiting for that one, I'll just mention a few upcoming things that EAS has going on training-wise. We have another medical device webinar coming up May 26th. That one is a look at FDA enforcement trends for medical device manufacturing. And we also have a number of on-demand webinars you'll find on our website. You'll see that resources tab and then on-demand webinars. So some that could be applicable would be OSHA lockout tagout, which is discussing critical steps to employee safety. We have one on quality management systems for devices, another on 21 CFR Part 11 compliance for record keeping and electronic signatures. Those on-demand webinars are, of course, available anytime you are interested and able to watch them. And again, the medical device manufacturing enforcement one is coming up on May 26th. So while we're waiting for any other questions to come in, Jay, I guess, would you like to share perhaps some of your more common questions as a consultant, things that you help clients solve?
Right. In terms of wellness devices, really the main thing is what are the claims that the technology and whether we can change something in it to make it as a wellness device. And that is why you need to go to the FDA database, go to the enforcement discretion tab and search in it. You need to go to the 510K tab also and type in the name of the product and try to find anything similar to it. And another thing you can do really is to filter the searching that you got and look at it from the time perspective. When was the last time that the 510K was cleared? That can be a good indication. If it stopped at 2015 or 2016, that could have been an indication because the wellness guidance started in 2016, 2015, 2016 onwards. So that could be an indication for you that FDA is accepting this product to be as a wellness device. You can read the indications for use. Many of the 510K submissions include the summary that you can open as a PDF. Even the ones with the statements, you can also open and read the indications for use form and compare with your claims. And in case of a summary, you can go and see the comparison with the predicate device that can tell you a lot in a tabular format, what were the issues that were discussed and what were the recognized standards that were tested against, and you compare with your device. And iteratively, by looking at all these things, and you'll be able to actually get closer to the answer. But also FDA has a mechanism where you can send them the request in an unofficial way, and you can ask the question. You can you need to get some draft brochure and some claims involved and send it to CDRH email address, and they can answer you. It's not a structured process, but they are advising that they accept such emails and response by the time they make it more structured.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. Our first or our second question, I guess, is someone is just wanting to confirm, did you say that a company is not required to provide information to FDA, but needs to have it available?
In case of a wellness device, yes, you don't need to provide anything to the FDA. It's always a good idea to submit that email and get the extra assurance from the FDA, but you are not required to do so. But I highly encourage that you do that. And once you have all the justification internally, if FDA inspector comes along and they want to find out why this is a wellness product, you need to have all the backups, like, you know, basically following that table that were mentioned during this presentation. These are the factors and a lot of examples, so you can use that, I think, in a good way to create flow charts and examples and justify it through your own procedures with the links and all that. You might want to design a protocol template that goes into all these things, and you can write a report of findings. There are different ways you can do it, but definitely you need to have your own justifications. If there's no justification, the inspector will expect it to be a medical device by default.
Yep, agreed. I know for devices, pharma, I think more in early communication with FDA is always better. Next question is regarding products that would provide information to the blind and visually impaired about the environment around them. Would that be considered a medical device or a wellness device?
We will need to know more about it. What is the technology, and in what sense they are being made more aware? Is it obstruction? Is it a frequency that goes back and forth and measures the distance, or is it some other method? There are a lot of questions that need to be answered before we can get to that. So before we can get closer to the
great.
To the answer.
Yeah, and I know, Douglas, if you would like to email us, we will be glad to put you in touch with Brian, who can work with you to find out more specifics on your questions. We can get you those answers. Are there any other questions out there? Just wait another couple seconds before we conclude, just in case. Okay, it doesn't look like there's any additional questions. So thanks everyone for joining us again. We will get you the slides, and I'll get you a link to the recording in the next day or so, business day or so. And thank you so much for joining us again. We do hope to see you at a future EAS event. And Jay, thank you so much for such a great presentation. A lot of really, really good information, and a lot to take in. So if EAS can be of help to you as you work with your medical and wellness device products, please do reach out. We'll be glad to do so. Thanks everyone, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you, everybody.